Right. Hello, everyone. So I'm Marco. I'm the director of Otterweave Games Studio. So today I'm going to be giving a talk about kickstarting your indie game studio as a graduate/student. So this is actually my first time giving a talk at an industry event. So sorry if I look a bit nervous. So, well, I will cope. So let me introduce myself. So I am currently a University of York student who did a course which is called Interactive Media. And I'm currently on an enterprise program, which is organized by the University of York. And I'm just kind of building my business around this sort of program. And I'm also from Hong Kong as well. So I personally made around 10 games before, which includes some of my personal projects like game jams, as well as some coursework. And I'm also a Unity generalist. So as you can see, I kind of do art and I do programming as well. So I'm also a pixel art enthusiast. I started my business journey for around a year ago. So I start from knowing nothing at all to actually knowing enough that I think I'm confident enough to give this talk to you. And I also got actively got involved in the British indie scene as well. So I went to many different sort of games events in the UK, such as EGX, there's the Barclay Games Frenzy, and London Games Finance Market, and also here it is developed Brighton as well. So I'm currently developing a game called In the Time. So I'm solo developing it. So it is a rhythm-based deck builder which combines different genres together, and it was originally a university student for my first university project for my first year. So I actually decided to kind of take it towards into a commercial project and just kind of remake it into something completely different. So at the same time, also got some UX UI support from a volunteer as well. So here are some of the projects I work on. So one of them is called Workshop Number 25, which is an official game selection of the Aesthetica Shopping Festival up in York. And I am also currently part of the Game Republic, which is a really brilliant sort of game organization up in the Yorkshire area. And I'm also a mentee of the Limits Break, as well as other incubators and programs as well. So I'm also part of the Technical Zone cohort this year. So yes, so for the next around 25 minutes, I'm going to talk about my journey from game dev to biz dev, as well as pitching and prototyping, as well as understanding your audience, as well as networking. And I will talk about give you some of my networking and time management advice, and there will be around 5 minutes of Q&A as well. So yeah, so starting from game dev to game business. So you're actually so when I first start working on In the Time as a game, so it started as a passion project. So when I was first making it, I didn't really kind of consider the scope of it. I just want to make a game that I really want to make. It's out of total passion. I want to make a game that is, I just kind of feel all my ideas into it. But when you kind of start working towards game business, you actually want to get the game out and sell it, right? So you have to kind of start considering the games as a product itself as well. Start thinking about the scope of the games, whether it's achievable to kind of create the game within a certain time, and whether the game has which is the target market of the game as well, just to kind of find out the target market of your game, because you're no longer just making a games for yourself. You're also kind of making a game for the audience. You want to sell it, so you make sure you want to identify who are you actually kind of selling your game to. So hats. So I would say when I first start my game business, I was actually thinking well, I suppose I'm going to be spending most of the time actually just kind of working on the game itself. But there are times that actually I realized there are so many things you have to work on when you're working on game business. No longer do you only have to just kind of work on the game itself. You also have to kind of participating in networking events, going to different maybe taking the games to different showcases, as well as just kind of learning about how to do a bit of marketing and community management. So there are many things that you have to kind of start to consider. So as well as there also when you have to kind of run a game business, there are many times that you have to kind of take risks or maybe take some opportunity. So it's kind of taking that leap of faith and whether opportunity. So it's kind of taking that leap of faith and deciding whether you kind of take that opportunity or not. And sometimes it kind of benefits you a lot. And just me kind of giving a talk at the Brighton for the first time is already kind of a leap of faith for me. So yeah, knowing your goal is actually pretty important when I was working through my business journey. So what do you actually want to achieve in the long run? So are you thinking of making your own game or help people make the games, like what are like the business model that you want to go for? Are you thinking of like just gonna look for funding and just gonna develop your game through like the funds, or are you thinking of like doing a bit of like work for hire work, selling on service to like other companies, and like, or are you thinking of going for like a hybrid model, like just combining two things together? And like, how do you want to run business really kind of depends on you and your preference and like what type of expertise you have. But like, you can definitely kind of consider it doing your business journey. And like, how serious are you with your game business as well? Like, how much time can you actually commit to the game business itself? Like, are you going to work on it like on a part-time basis or like a full-time basis? Like, depends on like how much time you can actually commit to like the business itself. Like, you definitely have to kind of change your business plan around it. And are you thinking, if you're making a game, if you're thinking of like making your own game, are you thinking of like self-publishing it, or like just kind of seeking investment or publishers? Like if you're looking for like doing like self-publishing, you may want to focus more on like the marketing and building the community side sort of like as soon as you can. And like if you're sort of like trying to find like a publishers, like you might want to consider just kind of working towards like your game pitch like as soon as possible, and just making sure you have like a polished prototype that you can show to like game publishers and investors when you want to ask for money to help you develop the game itself. So, and also, what is your end goal? Are you thinking of building like a successful game or successful business? Like, what is the end goal of you like in the long run, like in the next couple of years? So, and it's definitely true that your goal may change over time as well. So like when I first started my business, I was considering like self-publishing my game with a bit of like crowdfunding. But like that kind of changed a lot when I kind of learned about like how to kind of build a business itself. Like it's like there are many sort of opportunities and things that you will discover down the line. And it's definitely true that your goal will just kind of change over the time as well. And it's definitely okay. It's kind of like a self-discovery sort of like journey really. So I would say that game jams is like quite a nice way to kind of gain some experience into like completing like a game from start to finish. So if you don't know what game jams are kind of like a game event where either you kind of come as like an individual or maybe come in a team to kind of create like a game within like a certain time limit. So they will either kind of give you like a topic or a prompt, and then you can work towards it. And there are many great game jams out there that you can participate in. I would say like game jams are a great way for you to improve your portfolio, creating just kind of, like I said, like creating a game from start to finish and publishing it. It can also help you understand your capability as like a developer as well. Like what are the things you're actually good at and what are the things that you enjoy. And just to kind of knowing like your own development pipeline would be quite useful as well. Like before you actually dive into working like a commercial product, because it could kind of smooth things out quite a lot for you. So another thing is like game jams is also a great way for you to sort of like test out a team. If you're thinking of like building a business with like a team, with like a whole team, if you're just gonna like dive into like before you kind of committing to something that is that big, you may want to go for something that's much smaller, like a game jam that's like of like a much smaller scale. It could offer you the opportunity just kind of test out the team dynamics and whether everyone just kind of works well with each other. And there are some like successful titles that kind of like comes from like game jams world, such as like Baba Is You and Super Hot. So like it's definitely possible, like if you guys just kind of start as like game jam team and take it towards like a business direction as well. So, and if you haven't joined on, you better do it now. So yes, so working on my game business branding. So that's something that I would kind of talk about. So the thing is like, what do you want people to kind of think about your brand? So when I was like first thinking about like creating like business branding, I was going for like, at the beginning, I was going for like more like a professional sort of style when I like brand my studio. Because when I was first starting out, I don't know how chill are people about like just maybe like if you kind of like ship posts and that kind of things. But like, it's like later on down the line, I feel like I was feeling more comfortable with like just kind of being more casual with other people. And like, I was like making like some social media posts on like the world of today, like doing some posts around it. And like, I also kind of advertise my game with like a more sort of like less serious sort of tone, like going for something that's more playful, like because my game is kind of like a rhythm deck builder, grid-based tactics with like some anthropomorphic characters. So I just said like, oh, how about advertise it like rhythm deck builder, grid-based tactics with dogs. So it's kind of like a self-discovery journey, I would say. Like, so later on down the line, you kind of find out like what you're comfortable with, like, and how you kind of want to build your brand, how you kind of want to build the brand of like your own studio. So yeah, next thing, like something that I find really important, like is to pitch, it's to actually kind of start working towards a pitch as soon as possible. So like, So a pitch itself, like, it's really important if you want to find like fundings, government grants, and like looking for investment. Like, but like not to mention, like working towards a game pitch also give you a better idea of like what is like the direction of your game, and like giving you like a better clear idea of like what the game is actually going to be like, and what are like the sort of like the target audience of the game itself. So like it also help you kind of consider the target market of the game as well. So like when I was first working towards my game pitch, I start to have to consider what are like the market, consider working on towards like the market analysis, like seeing what are like the competitors and that sort of things. So like it will actually help you actually know like who are you selling this game to, and like just to kind of get you, and it also kind of helps you identify like how well the game does, and just to know how commercially successful your game could possibly be. And you might also have to kind of start considering your budget needs and also timeline as well. So like you may want to know about like how much budget it needs for you to take, how much budget it takes for you to kind of get the game start to finish. Because that's something that really important, is that like before you ask for investment, you don't want to ask for budget that is like too low, because like that wouldn't end up too well. And like just to make sure you know like you have like the right budget to kind of hire the people that you need, and like just to make sure you can like support yourself as well, which is really important. Like, and also knowing what you need for your product as well. Like, so are you thinking of like getting some like QA testing, like localization, or maybe like some sort of like marketing support from like publishers or investors? Like what are like the type of support that you sort of need from them, like, and what are you sort of lacking? And another thing is like the timeline. So like having like clear timeline of like how long it's going to take for you to complete the game to start to finish is important. Come from like a passion project, I suppose like you wouldn't mind just going to keep on working it like for like the infinite amount of time. But like if it's like a product, you want to get it out, actually earn money. Having like a clear timeline of like how you're going to take your project from start to finish will help you have like a clear idea of like what is clear idea of like the scope of your project as well. Like, is it going to be taking so long for you to kind of develop, or is it going to be taking too long for you to kind of develop, and like you sort of like scale down the development time, or maybe like scale down like the features itself to kind of make the development quicker as well. So another thing is like finding like the right publishers. If you decide to take your game and then pitch to like the publishers, remember to kind of do some research on them in advance. Like you want to see if they like pitch, like if they kind of like have they just want to check if they kind of publish like the games of like similar game genres or similar types of games, and like just making sure like just so that you can know like whether you're pitching to like the right publishers. If they are sort of like just looking for like strategy game, and you're sort of just kind of like pitching like sort of something that completely different, like that definitely wouldn't be like a right fit. And you want to make sure that like you're and you also want to make sure that you're not pitching like a PC game to like a mobile publisher as well. Like, I don't think that's going to end up that well. So yes, let's talk about like prototyping and showcasing. So I would say like when I first start working towards my game, like I consider like the first thing that I consider is like working towards like a playable prototype of like the core mechanics itself. So like, because like if the core mechanics of the game or of the game that you're making is like the major selling point of the game, you want to get it done as soon as possible, and like just kind of test this idea against like actual audience. Because like if you're actually going to be committing it to it like for such a long period, you want to make sure that like the gameplay mechanics, like major gameplay mechanics that you're sort of like advertising and sort of like making these games about is actually fun, and like just for the players to kind of play with as well. So I think it's pretty important for you to kind of do that step, and also like take your games to like a showcase as soon as possible. Like once you feel like your game is like at a point that is ready, like take it to like a showcase. Like there are many different showcases out there that are free. Like you can make use of like this showcase opportunity to see like how the audience actually interact with your games. Because like when you're working towards your game on your own, like it's many times that you're getting like, the thing is that like if you're working on like the same project again and again, and you do playtesting all the time, the thing is that you get extremely good at it. And you want to make sure that like the audience themselves actually could kind of get a hang of. And like there are also like many sort of like UX UI design issues that you might know like until you actually kind of take it to like the audience. So like for my game, like because Inner Time is kind of like games that combine different genres, and it's gonna have like many different elements combined as well. So like I have to mix the thing like when I first take the game to like first take the first iteration to the showcase, is that like people find like the UX UI a bit slightly confusing. So I kind of went through like many iterations of like testing and bringing it to showcase to make sure like things kind of actually work well for like the player too. So another thing is like there are many different free showcase out there, like many different free opportunities, like such as like the Gamayo as and the Yorkshire area. There's also like the Barclays Game Frenzy, like a London Game Day X. There are many free showcase that you can make use of to kind of use that to your play testing ground. Definitely use them as a part of your opportunity to kind of showcase and also play test your game, and make sure you kind of note down like how the players kind of like interact with your game as well, like, and ask for like player feedback at the same time. So yeah, so here's some networking advice from me. So like I suggest like I guess like for me, like when I going to networking events, always feel at the beginning when I was going to networking events, it does feel like something that is quite scary and quite daunting, because I suppose like I didn't know what I was supposed to kind of get out of it, and I didn't know what I was supposed to do. So like I would say like what I would recommend is like just to kind of get to know what you want to get out of it. Like, are you thinking of like making new connections, like even just kind of making new friends, or are you thinking of like just kind of finding help for your game, like trying to find like, or maybe trying to find some people to kind of help you out during like your business journey. And like you can definitely overcome like anxiety through like preparation. So maybe come up with like some topic openers, like you can talk about like what you have been working on, like maybe talk about like the British weather and also like the train delays, typical. So remember to kind of connect and keep in touch with like the people you connect with as well, because like there are many times that like even though those connections may not be useful at the moment, like later on down the line, they may come in useful really well. Like so the game industry use a lot of like LinkedIn as well. So definitely trade if you have like a LinkedIn account, definitely try to kind of trade your LinkedIn with other people and maybe send them like a follow-up message after connecting with them. And I would say like make use of like LinkedIn as a way to kind of post like your updates on like attending different sort of like game events as well, because like it is really easy for people to just kind of forget about you after connecting. So like if you kind of post some updates on your LinkedIn after going to like different events, it could kind of help people to actually kind of remember you. And then like later on down the line, if you go to another networking events and you shows up, like they will kind of like, hi, like, oh, you're coming here as well. Like, yeah. So managing your time. So like managing your time I think it's like something that is really important. And please remember to take breaks as well. Like working on a game business, you have too many stuff to do, like too many works. You're taking on like multiple different jobs at the same time. So make use of like task management tools such as like Trello, Jira, that kind of things that help you kind of separate your tasks and keep track of it would be really useful for you, because like there are many things that you kind of overlook and forget about, and like making use of those kind of tools could help you to make sure that you don't forget about them, and just making sure you've got and make sure you get them well managed, and also your support group is key for you. So like working towards a game business is a really stressful journey, I would say. Like so, just making sure like if things get really stressful, go to like your support group, like your family, friends, or maybe like some friends in the industry as like an outlet for you to just kind of like talk through stuff. Because like you don't want to bottle up like everything on your own, and like just to kind of make sure like you've got like a good mental health for yourself as well. So remember to take sufficient break even though you are like really really invest in the game project as well. So say like working on games is definitely like a time stealer. So like you can get really invested in it and just kind of literally forget about everything. But like remember to take sufficient breaks like in between like development, because like if you can't take care of yourself that well, if you can't take care of yourself that well, how are you going to be able to take care of your business? So yeah, so a bit of network marketing stuff. So now check out this brilliant trailer of my awesome game. So the trailer itself does have a bit of like flashy lighting effect. So if anyone is sort of like sensitive to it, like just a heads up. So oops. and that's my trailer. Like if it, like definitely feel free to research my game, and like if there's like some publishers out there and want to have a talk, feel free to come to me after the talk as well. So yes, the last thing I would say is like finding your help. So like there are many sort of like game organizations out there, like including like Game Republic in the Yorkshire area. There's like London Games around the London area, and there's also like many sort of like different sort of like incubators, such as like the Tentacle Zone Incubator, Transfuser. There are like mentorship out there, which is such as like Lemon Brick. So like definitely approach this kind of help like as soon as possible, because like working on like a business journey is hard, and like these people are here for are here, and like they're more than happy to kind of help you out. And definitely kind of like make some friends in like the indie dev community as well. Like I would say like from my personal experience, like the indie community is like one of the most friendly and like just helpful community that I have been. Like I've kind of been offered, I've been offered like many tons of help like on like my pitch deck and like just my business bit as well. So like definitely like if you need any help, like you can definitely ask your indie friends who are like making games or maybe like have more experience with you. Like they're definitely more than happy to help you out. So yeah. So this is the end of my presentation. So like, and now we're reaching like the question time. So feel free to follow me on Twitter and follow my studio on Twitter as well. And if you want, you can wish this Imatom on Steam now. So yeah, any questions at the moment? All right. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, there's no. Oh. All right. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. I mean, if you want, you can have a chat like later on. Like, sorry. Thank you very much.